Hey guys, Simply Betta here. I just got back from a road trip, a pretty long road trip. I mentioned it in my last video. My little Phoebe missed me oh so much. Oh so much. So while I was gone, I left all of my fish in the care of a pet sitter, a family member who I trusted to follow. It was just some instructions that I left. I haven't always had the best luck in the past with this, with leaving my animals in the care of someone else. I've had videos in the past of like big fry losses while I've been gone, but this time I did a few things differently and I thought I'd share them because I think it ended up going pretty well. So I got back from the road trip. The most important thing is that I got straight into my jammies and now it's time to, I guess, go look at the fish tanks and kind of really peer in and see how everybody did. But I thought I'd make a good video discussion about like what I did and how it went. Phoebe is being my assistant right now by eating all the leftover fish food that the pet sitter dropped on the carpet. Ew, don't like me. First thing, obviously, is the fish room. I appeared in here a little bit earlier and everything seemed okay, but I didn't really look closely. So here I go. Got my little assistant in here to eat up leftover fish food. Let's turn this camera around and see how everybody did. So I gave a good look over. Everyone looks good and healthy on the grow out rack. I'm very happy about that. There's a bunch of empty ones. I've been checking everybody over. They look good. So while I was gone on the whole trip, these fish were not fed. My jarred bettas were not fed at all. They kind of fasted for the whole week and I had the temperature turned down in the fish room too. So obviously I don't work with very large volumes of water. I get a lot of flack for that. What's the most important to me in my fish room is clean, immaculately clean water, and that's how this fish room functions. It's a lot of water changes all the time, and that's just how I do it. Yeah, I didn't want to leave my pet sitter in charge of doing water changes, so I didn't feed. Like for the whole week that I was gone, I fasted my jarred betta fish to keep the water clean. I did a water change right before I left, and then I come back and everybody looks fantastic. Not only did I not feed, I also had a tiny little chunk of an ammonia absorbing pad in each jar, like just in case, and I don't have any losses, it looks like. Okay, my golden female sorority looks good. You know, the tanks aren't super clean. There's a little bit of mulm in the bottom, but there's nothing wrong with that. Hello, my pretty red half-moon females. I can see there's been a little bit of fin nipping, and I'm going to have to keep an eye on these guys and determine who's doing that. Dang it. Definitely grown since I've been gone for this week. So the house sitter, you know, she did a good job of feeding the fish, and not too much, not too little. I definitely noticed some growth, and that's good. These guys are going to be, hopefully, I get a bunch of blue half-moons. Here's a spawn of koi girls that I have, and they look good. Hey pretties. There's been a lot of good growth on these lovely copper half moons too. This was a cross between a copper and a gold, and I'm hoping I get some really great fish out of this one. And it's hard to get a good shot because this tank is kind of in a corner, but they look hungry. Okay, this tank here was one of the only tanks that had a little bitty baby fry in it, just a few weeks old. I don't actually see any anymore. I had left instructions to feed microworms. And either they're hiding in here. Oh my goodness, is that one? Oh, I see one. I have at least one survivor. So gosh, hopefully I have some more in here. Yeah, hopefully I have some more survivors because that was my spade tail project. Looks like I had a blue-green algae outbreak in this tank. This tank is pretty ugly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie that this is probably one of my ugliest fry tanks. But, I mean, I don't lose any fish. I haven't lost any fish from it at all. Hopefully I get a bunch of blue marbles out of this, blue and white marbles. So, ugly tank, hopefully some pretty fish. And a bunch of brown algae over there. That's a koi spawn. Hopefully an Armageddon koi spawn. They look good. I was peering in there. I didn't see any losses. Here's an older spawn of mine. Look at that. They definitely have some good growth on them. I see some males that I'll probably remove. Super ugly tank. But look at that pretty cellophane male. Oh man, all these water droplets. I'm so ashamed filming with all these water droplets on my glass. Pretty. And then over here, I have a crown tail cross. Can't wait to get a closer look-see at these guys. I'm going to turn the light on my camera. Now, right before I left, I separated out some of the bigger males that I knew would probably start fighting right as I left. So, you know, these guys haven't eaten for a week. This is a crown tail male I separated out who's getting feisty, another red male. You know, but they look good. I'll feed them and hopefully I'll get some good growth out of these pretty little males. God, I need to get some plants in these jars too. You've probably noticed I don't have any plants in my jars. I've had bad luck with plants. I've had bad luck, especially leaving for extended periods of time. Like, what if I get a plant with a leaf that's dying off and it pollutes my jar and my fish gets sick? I've had some bad experiences with plants and I've been spooked. I'm gonna get so much flack for that. Here are some of my juveniles that have been growing out. Beautiful golden males. They're adults. I'm probably gonna put some on my website soon. I wish my camera would focus on these guys and that my lighting situation was better and I had better decorations, but at this moment I don't really care about that. Beautiful little tiger koi female, little koi or marble, fancy marble, kind of a tiger male right there. I'm gonna cross these two. All right, my white half moons look fantastic. I'm really happy about that. Same with this little marble female of mine, one of my favorites. Marble male of mine, one of my favorites. Healthy and vigorous, everybody did well. Whoa, my planted jar is green. Check that out. I have a few videos on this planted vase of mine. You can see I have some little baby white clouds growing out. I have some yellow Heterandria formosa in here. These guys have also fasted for a week, but I mean, they look good. They're all still in there. My plants look okay, except for the green water, but I can easily fix that. My baby Betta macrostoma look fantastic. I'm so happy. I see growth just in the past week. I was really worried about these guys, but you know, probably no reason to be worried. I'm just being paranoid. Gorgeous. This spawn is gonna need a bigger tank soon. In this little tank, I have a bunch of regular Heterandria formosa, just kind of being held in here with a bunch of snails, keeping the tank cycled. I think I like these little guys, but I'm not sure if I'll continue with the Heterandria formosa. I have some red guppies, and they look all right. Babies in there, that's great. Okay, some pastel tuxedo guppies in this planted tank from LR Brett's. Got it from his website. They look good, and I see babies. This is a tank that I'm keeping some white clouds in. They look great. I have a tank where I'm holding mystery snails and albino koi guppies. I can't really get a good focus on those guys. No, but they look pretty good. My snails look all right. My snails are probably pretty hungry. I have a spawn right here. Wait a second, is that a male? Wait a second. Probably a new male right there that I'm gonna take out. You'll notice that he doesn't have any ventral fins. In this spawn, I had a couple fish that did not have ventral fins, and that's most likely because I didn't keep the tank clean enough when they were little tiny fry. I was feeding too many microworms, too much waste on the bottom. I'm unsure what the truth is, why some betta fish miss their ventrals, but it's probably my fault. This is a project tank of mine I've been working on. It looks pretty good. A bunch of my plants are floating. Some algae. This is a 40-gallon breeder where I have a bunch of golden guppies, and they look pretty good. They got a little pinch of food every day. Pretty big population explosion since I kind of paid attention last. And my floating pothos I have up here. This tank looks good, but I can't really say the same thing about my immersed plant tank. You know, the plants look great. Obviously, my light's good, everything's good in there, but I had guppies down in the bottom and some guppy grass, and there are dead guppies in here. Shoot, like that's a dead guppy right there in a clump of guppy grass. And I see a few other dead ones too that are kind of hard to focus on. You'll notice, you'll probably be like, what the heck are those cups in there? They're just holding up my aquatic plants. Like I know it looks weird, but it works. So my lovely white guppies, I need to do a water change in here and fix that problem. I have a rack of plants here that are kind of like some experiment plants, and they look pretty good. Let's see if I can get a closer look at my little experiments. In here are a bunch of Crypt Florida Sunset. It's kind of hard to see. I don't want to take the top off because there's a little gap, and I'm keeping the gap sealed with some saran wrap. In here I have a bunch of different crypts that I'm playing with, and also some AR Mini that it looks like I'm going to have to trim back. It's doing pretty well in there. In here I have some Anubias that, you know, it's just an experiment. It's just an experiment to see how my Anubias did in an immersed setup. Looks like I have some mold. And then in here I have some Crypt Lutea, which looks pretty good. Right on. Okay, I gotta check on my little pride and joys. These are my Betta macrostoma pair. That's my male right there. I have a little sign telling the house sitter what to do. That's my male Betta macrostoma, and that's my female. They look good. They look hungry. Do I see a funny little white speck on my male's head? I don't know. It's hard to see through the camera, but I'll get a closer look at him. Get some better light in here and make sure that he's okay. Besides losing some guppies and then maybe losing a spawn of little tiny guys, I think it turned out pretty well. I've had worse experiences with leaving for long periods of time. So I think what I did was pretty good. So basically, all of my jarred fish, all of my fish in the grow outs, ones with small water volumes, they didn't get any food. They fasted for a week. Guys, a fish not eating for a week I don't think is really that big of a deal. They're not mammals, they're fish, and they do just fine. In fact, it's better to do that than to feed and possibly let that water foul. So I had the pet sitter only feed my big tanks and my spawns. What I did was I had the pet sitter come over the day before and I showed her exactly what I meant by like, what's a little pinch? What's a big pinch? I had a little note taped on each tank saying, okay, this tank gets a big pinch, this tank gets a little pinch, this tank gets that, this tank gets this. And I was pretty clear about that kind of thing, and I even left a list explaining things over again. And she did a great job. Having the little tiny squares of the ammonia absorbing pad in my jars and in my grow outs, I think was probably really helpful. I'm gonna have to look more into that and see if that's the reason why I didn't lose any fish or if it's because I didn't actually feed them. Phoebe's been doing a great job cleaning up any leftover fish food that fell down or crumbs or anything. That's her job. Stop licking me so much. That's her job in this house. She's a working dog. Chihuahuas are specifically bred to be vacuum cleaners, didn't you know that? But now that I'm home, I have a lot of work to do. I have to change out everybody's water, feed everybody, make sure that everyone's okay and healthy, and that's probably gonna take me tonight and tomorrow before I actually get everything done. So wish me luck. I'm glad everything turned out pretty well on my end, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm back from my road trip, I'm back to normal life, and thanks for watching this update video. Let me know if you like the more casual vlog formats like this. Let me know if you like them. I can try to do more of them because they're actually kind of fun. Very casual and relaxing. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe and have a great day.